Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Fan's Perspective. I'm your host Nathan Lyle, and today I am presenting the Fan Award for Offensive Rookie of the Year. First, let me say that I am not affiliated with the Associated Press, the NFL, or any of their sponsors, and the views and opinions expressed in this video, blah 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 blah. Basically, nobody is paying me to say this. Anyways, secondly, I need to mention that these awards are for regular season only. This is the regular season Offensive Rookie of the Year. The winner was decided before a single playoff game was ever played, so playoff performance has no bearing on the final decision. With that in mind, let's get started. Here are the nominees for the NFL 2012 Fan Award for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Starting with Alfred Morris, running back for the Washington Redskins. Drafted in the 6th round, 173rd pick overall. He is playing in a Mike Shannahan offense and was supposed to be last on the depth chart behind guys like Tim Hightower, Helu, Evan Rosyter. And yet he ends up starting all 16 games this year and finishing first among rookies and second in the league with the franchise single-season rushing record 1,613 yards, only the fourth rookie ever in NFL history to get over 1,600 rushing yards, and a franchise record 13 rushing touchdowns. He also has 77 receiving yards and only lost 3 fumbles on the year. And next we have Rg3, quarterback for the Washington Redskins. Drafted in the 3rd round, 2nd overall, Rg3 has the weight of the world on his shoulders and has outperformed all expectations. He started in the first 14 games of the season before missing week 15 with an injury. He led his team to a much better record than most people thought, and they finished first in the division, got a playoff spot, and on top of everything else, he also made so many insane plays that are just completely impossible for a human to pull off. Just look at the highlight reel from the first game against the Giants. He made JPP look ridiculous. And he finishes the season with 3,200 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions, 815 rushing yards, and 7 touchdowns, and he only lost 2 fumbles all year. Over 4,000 yards of offense and only 7 turnovers. That's extremely impressive for a rookie. And then we have Andrew Luck, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, the first player taken in the 2012 NFL Draft. He was selected to replace the legendary Peyton Manning and lead the Colts into a new era. And in his first season, he has already begun building his Hall of Fame resume, and he led the Colts to a playoff berth, including 7 comeback victories along the way, and he even set the rookie record for passing yards in a game when he had 433 passing yards in Week 9. And he finishes the year first among rookies with 4,374 passing yards, breaking the record that was just set by Cam Newton last year for passing yards for a rookie. And he also finishes second among rookies with 23 passing touchdowns. And he also has 255 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. Unfortunately, he also finishes second in the league with 18 interceptions and is tied for second in the league with 5 lost fumbles. Next we have Trent Richardson, running back for the Cleveland Browns, drafted 3rd overall to help lead the Browns to a new era. He's had to battle through some injuries this season, but he's toughed it out through most of the year, and he helped carry the load for the Browns offense. He has 950 rushing yards and is tied for 4th in the league with 11 rushing touchdowns, which is a Browns rookie record. And he also has 367 receiving yards and a touchdown and has not lost a fumble all season. That's pretty good. That's pretty cool. Next we have Russell Wilson, who quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, drafted in the 3rd round, 75th overall. He was not a heralded pick coming out of college, and he had to be out the incumbent starter Travaris Jackson and the $50 million free agent signing Matt Flynn. And yet he has managed to hold on to his starting job all season. He has helped lead Seattle to a winning season and a playoff berth, and he finishes the year with 3,118 passing yards and first among rookie QBs with a record-tying 26 touchdowns and 3rd overall among QBs with 489 rushing yards, and he also has 4 rushing touchdowns. He has only thrown 10 interceptions and lost 3 fumbles all season. Next, we have Doug Martin, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, drafted late in the first round, 31st overall. He was a complete all-around halfback who showed so much promise and was easily able to win the starting job. He carried the load for his team all year, including a fantastic performance against the Oakland Raiders. He finishes the season 5th among halfbacks with 1,454 rushing yards and is tied for 4th with 11 touchdowns. He also adds 472 receiving yards and a touchdown and has only lost 1 fumble all season. So, who wins? Well, they're all pretty impressive. All of these guys have had great seasons. They all deserve a hand. I mean, let's be honest. No, every single one of them had a pretty great season. They played so well, and they show so much promise, especially when you consider the fact that they're only rookies. And I look forward to seeing what they can do for the rest of their career. But who had the best season this year? Well, we'll start with the players who did not win. First of all, Trent Richardson. I mean, I had to nominate him because I knew he'd have a pretty decent season. Plus, you have to give him credit for the fact that he plays for the Browns. He nearly had 1,000 rushing yards, which a lot of rookies won't get to. And he broke a Browns record with 11 touchdowns, which was previously held by Jim Brown, who's done nothing but criticize Richardson. And he has not lost a fumble this season. That's an amazing feat for a halfback to go an entire season and get that much of a workload and never put the ball on the ground once. So that's pretty cool. He did a great job, but let's be honest, in this world, so many other players this season who have had so many better statistics. Unfortunately, he just wasn't quite up to that mark. Next, we have Andrew Luck, and this is where voting definitely came into play. Because when I was nominating people and discussing why I thought certain people deserved to win, honestly, when I originally made this, for me, Andrew Luck was the front runner. But there was an outcry against him winning it because so many people kept stating the fact that he had 18 interceptions. And they're right, second in every turnover category, that's not really a good thing to have. And I don't fault him because he is a rookie. You expect him to make mistakes. He's only going to get better from here. But yeah, I give him credit for the fact that he made the mistakes and then came back to fix it. But at the same time, the reason he had so many passing yards is because he would throw 2 interceptions in the first quarter, and then the second half they'd be down by 20 and have no choice but to keep throwing it. So, yeah, Andrew Luck, unfortunately, doesn't get to win, despite all the yards, despite having a decent amount of touchdowns. The turnovers just, he doesn't get, people talked me out of it. So now we go to Doug Martin, who, he had a pretty damn decent season. First round draft pick, showed a lot of versatility, including he had a few really huge games like the one against the Raiders. But honestly, other than the game against the Raiders where he had like 450 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, outside of that, he was actually pretty average all year, which, don't get me wrong, he's a great halfback. He deserves to be in the NFL. I look forward to him having a great career. But other than that one fantastic game against what is arguably the worst defense in the league, I say that just because most players have their best game against the Raiders. Go look at some of the statistics from this season. Outside of that, you take away that performance, Martin has been an about average halfback in most categories. And then next we have, so that leaves Alfred Morris, Rg3, and Russell Wilson. Which one of them deserves it most? Well, first, let's look at the comparison between Rg3 and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, 3,100 passing yards to Rg3's 3,200. Rg3, 800 rushing yards to Russell Wilson's 500. Now, Russell, he has a few more touchdowns that we'll give him credit for that. But he also has twice as many interceptions. Rg3 has a shit ton more yards, and he's got half as many turnovers on the year. He's only got 7 total turnovers to Russell Wilson's 13. And you add on to the fact that Russell Wilson is playing for what is arguably one of the best teams in football this season. I mean, Seattle Seahawks, they were one of the best defenses in the league all year long. So they've got a few key players going to the Pro Bowl from that side of the ball. Marshawn Lynch is like third in basically every rushing category. Beast mode was in full effect this season. The offense ran through him, and I will give Russell Wilson credit. He worked his ass off. He earned his starting job. He kept it all year. But also, as far as overall performance goes, I just wasn't that impressed. It wasn't until like the last month of the season that I actually seriously started considering him a candidate. Before, I just listed his name on there to piss off the Tannehill fans. But to be honest, for like the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, they could not win on the road, and when they won at home, it was only because the defense held opponent to like 10, 12 points, and Seattle was winning by like 1 or 2 points. And he showed a lot of maturity as the season advanced, but other rookies like Luck and Rg3, they came in from day one and made their mark and established themselves as leaders. So that's why I'm not giving it to Russell Wilson. And that leaves 2 players who actually played for the same team, Alfred Morris and Robert Griffin III. So who deserves it? Well, both of them are pretty good. I mean, everyone makes the argument that that Rg3 made Alfred Morris, that because of the read option, that's the only reason he's getting any space to run and stuff like that. But at the same time, you could argue that if Alfred Morris hadn't been so productive, it would have been so much easier for people to stack their box against Rg3 and defend the pass, because they didn't have to worry about Alfred Morris doing anything. So, they help each other. They make each other better. They work together to help fuel the team. And they both had fantastic seasons. But who am I going with? It was a very hard decision. In the end, I decided that I would name Alfred Morris the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And why? Just because halfbacks in general don't get enough respect. There's a general consensus in the league that halfbacks are a dime a dozen. You can easily replace them, blah, blah, blah. And if you look at Rg3, he was 2nd overall draft pick. And then Alfred Morris, he was drafted in the 6th round. And he was expected to be one of the last players on the depth chart. And, he was basically thrust into the lineup because there were injuries. And yet, opening day, I had no idea who the hell this guy was. I'm sitting there, I'm watching this game, and they give him the carry, and I'm like, who the heck is this guy? What happened to those other people? What happened to Terrain? Is he still on the team? And yet, he's been impressive all season long, and he only continued to get better. I mean, he's only the 4th rookie in the entire history of the NFL to get over 1,600 rushing yards. He had the 3rd best performance of any rookie ever. He set franchise records for both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. And all of this happened in a Mike Shannahan system, where Mike Shannahan, especially in recent years, has not been known for sticking with one halfback. And yes, you can make the argument that it's because of the read option and the threat of Rg3 that defenders are backing off, but at the same time, Rg3 does not give Alfred Morris yards. Alfred has had better opportunities because of the read option offense, but he took advantage of those opportunities. That's something that you can say anything about any player in this league. Wilson, Luck, Griffin, all of them. Everybody takes advantage of the situation they are put in. You're given the opportunities and you either live up and you either take advantage of them or you don't. Alfred Morris, he surpassed everyone's expectations, breaking records, and he deserves to be mentioned. He deserves more credit for what he's done. There are not enough people talking about him. So that's it. Alfred Morris wins the Fan Award for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Any complaints? Too bad. It's my show. If you want someone else, you make your own show, and you can name whoever you want. Until then, this has been the Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Lyle. Tune in like 10 minutes when I upload the award for Offensive Player of the Year. And yeah, look forward to that.